Welcome to the Reloading Podcast, brought to you by Primary Arms.
Here on the Farms Radio Network.
Well, we have our fearless leader's gone today. He has to run a county fair. So Jim and I and Nick are taking over the podcast and going to give everybody a hard time tonight.
That includes you, Chris Sharp. Here's your first shot at you, dog. He was nice to me, so I got to slam him back before he gets a chance to throw his trash out there.
Definitely. So we are going to discuss cartridges and the problems in chambering them and how to fix it. And there's been a request out there to talk about the 358 Winchester. Oh, wow. That one's an oldie. So, Jim, what you been up to?
Scouting around for a rifle case for my Winchester Wildcat. That's about it. Speaking of 358 Winchester, isn't the 358 Winchester a 308 cartridge necked up to 35 caliber?
Yeah, sure is.
That's one you don't hear a whole lot about.
Yeah. Nice little brush cartridge.
Yep.
It
good for black bear country, as I recall.
Yeah. Good. Your neck of the woods down there. You got them little black bears down there.
Yeah. And also got them nasty old feral pigs.
Well,
and you know what? Drogan Reagan got it right. 358 with a 220 grain spear is a hefty hammer.
Yeah.
Good comment, Jorgen. Thank you, sir. Now, just because I'm nice to you doesn't mean you have to misbehave.
Well, it's also an easy one to reload for because all you're doing is expanding it up. You get a Lyman M die, and you can open that right up.
And you can I could put my 210 grain lead sledgehammers for 35 caliber right down that bore.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I've done that, and I never fired the test loads, but I did that with 35 Remington. And 35 Remington and 358 are almost identical, except I believe the 358 is a tad shorter.
It is a tad shorter. And the 358 has also got a stronger web in it in the case, so you can get a little higher pressure.
Yep, soup that up just a tad.
Somebody just got Elk Blood 01. Wife texted him and says he's got two 6mm Krager barrel blanks just showed up. Oh,
nice! Congrats, Elk Blood. Congrats, Elk Blood. He and I are Facebook friends. I forget his real name, but he and I are Facebook friends.
So what do you get now? We have to ask him what he's going to chamber it for.
6mm Creedmoor. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that supposed to be 6.5, Nick?
No, 6mm is its own. It's a don't correct me if I'm wrong. It's 243 diameter, isn't it?
244.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. So I know 6.5 is 264.
Yes.
I always thought 243.
I thought the proprietary or the original Creedmoor cartridge was 6.5.
Yes, the original Creedmoor was 6.5.
Okay, I was just joking anyway.
But Chris Sharp has got it right too, 6XC, which is what one of my cartridges I load for. And
Idaho Rogers 6mm arc. There's all sorts of new cartridges that are coming out in the 6mm game.
And Mike is over there saying 6 bench rest. Okay.
Mike, go away. Go play in the fair. Kick him out, Paul. You got the proprietary rights. Kick him out.
Not going to do that first.
Mike and I have given each other so much hell over the years, it isn't funny. Anyway, 358 Winchester. Go ahead, Paul.
Yep. What about you, Nick? What have you been up to?
Haven't done a lot. Just got a couple parts in for a new build I've been doing. My
What you
light.
build?
I just got a AR pistol, new home defense gun, and my new weapon light just came in last night for it. So gonna attach that later this week, and this weekend go shoot it, and then see how it shoots and get it sighted in.
Set it up for a brace.
Yep, it's already on a brace lower.
So is that in 300 blackout?
No, so I already had a 300 blackout upper. I just decided to build a 5.56 upper.
Okay.
So I can find the ammo. I have tons more of 5.56 than I do 300. So figured I'd build that, and in case I had to use it, I have the ammo.
Okay. Elk Blood 01, 6mm BRA, and another dasher.
6mm dasher, huh?
Yep.
They say back in the day, I don't know anything about the cartridge, but they say back in the day, it was hell on wheels.
It's a good cartridge. Still a lot of people shoot it. There's a lot of people out there that do shoot it, and it's a hot round. And I don't know. I lean more. I lean more towards the XC because I get a little more case capacity. But hey,
To each his own, right?
Yep. So what kind of light did you get there, Nick?
This is the I didn't want to break the bank to start, so this is just the Streamlight ProTac Rail Mount 2.
Okay.
And I think I paid $150 for. Actually, no, $90. Right at $90. It comes with the tail switch or the pressure switch and everything. So
nice.
I'm gonna order the Cloud Offensive aluminum bracket that mounts on Picatinny rail that holds the button in place. Probably this weekend, and so get that ordered.
So the next thing you're gonna do is put a laser on it, right?
I don't have the ability to use night vision, so I don't see a point of a laser if I don't have night vision.
Okay.
So
If you don't have night vision,
laser, I'd rather blind them and to see my target than put a laser on somebody's chest, because that's just the way I look at things. I'm not a laser guy. I'm more of a light guy than a laser guy. So
your point that light's going to be pretty high on lumens. Any idea how many lumens you got coming off that Streamlight?
650.
Wow, I was going to guess 500.
Yeah, that's a 650. My main 60-inch carbine's 1,000, if not 1,500. I can't remember. That's an actual surefire light on that one.
You talk about blinding. My God.
Yeah.
It works both ways though. That's the problem with light. If you got 1,000 and you turn that on inside the house, you're going to get blinded too.
That's why I didn't go with 1,000 lumen on this pistol, because I didn't want that much light. I can handle 650. I'm used to that from my regular EDC pocket light I carry, so I'm used to that much light. But 1,000, that'll blind me easily, no problem.
Yeah. I find 300 lumens to be about right inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can, go from there. But you go down a hallway, you flip a light on in a hallway, and you're blind.
Yeah.
So. But that's why I kind of like a laser.
Nick, Chris has got a comment he wants you to answer. If you would, please read it.
He's asking me, I thought a piece of lead always follows the laser. And that's true. I just have always been one of those people. I've never been a laser guy. It's just something, my theory on it, I never have been a laser guy. I sell tons of lasers on handguns, like the shields, all of them, all sorts of guns. I just have never been a guy that likes a laser on my gun. It takes up space. If I had a place where I could shoot outdoors at night and have night vision, I would have a laser, no doubt about it. But I see a light is my first use to see what.
Well, it's always good to identify what you're shooting, what you're going to be shooting at. It's always a good idea.
Yeah. And then Chris just asked. He recommends IR laser and night vision. If I had the money, yes, I would have both of them already, but I don't have.
He had access to equipment that only the military can provide.
Yeah. Oh, you can. It's affordable, and I've looked at it. I looked at a set the other day. It's about for the PVS 14 and red dot. You're looking about 2,500, and then you're looking about another 700 for the IR laser. So you're looking about $3,200
On a handgun.
No,
Yeah. No, this will be on a pistol build,
on a rifle.
pistol build, whatever. So
You said AR pistols. That's why I called it a handgun.
yeah.
I realize an AR pistol is a handful.
Yeah. No, night vision and IR laser and an IR illuminator is all in one, work good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
The only thing
easiest
is,
way to go.
well, again, I follow the Masada train of thought when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, you're using invisible laser, you're using night vision. They can see that laser, and then you shoot the guy. What kind of animal are you? Remember, I'm being devil's advocate. I agree. If you got to shoot somebody, shoot him. However, that's not the point. I'm talking about after the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick's got the right idea.
Because I'd rather put a light on them and scare them, and not have to shoot them.
Exactly.
So
I
don't give them the chance.
Okay, Paul.
It just, I mean, when I was living at the farm and we had to, shoot coyotes and raccoons and everything else, you turn a white light on and they're gone.
They're gone, sure.
But with a PVS 14 and a laser, an infrared laser and an infrared illuminator, you can identify your target and then do the deed. So, and we're not really going to be doing that, talking about just IR. We're just going through what is right for you. And Nick is explaining that he's just going through with a light as he feels that's optimal for him. And I agree. That's his decision. We're still missing a few people. I guess Jason is out moving still, and Travis is probably working, and Mike is off at the fair. Sharenda is, well, we have no idea where Sharenda is yet. And
Sharenda is late.
Yep. So I'm kind of winging this one, guys. So bear with me.
Yep.
And me, I've just I had a graduation party this weekend, so I was kind of stuck going and doing that. So, and smoking a pork butt for the party. So that was my weekend. Didn't get in the reloading room. Besides, I'm going to have to start packing it up again pretty soon. We're going to be moving to Bloomington, Indiana. So,
well, you're walking back to the land of freedom.
Yep.
That's funny. The two contiguous states, they share a lot of border, and yet one. Never mind. This is not a political show.
Hey, the first thing I'm going to do is buy a couple of cans.
Question.
Yeah.
Are you going to take and move your Bridgeport into your lathe?
I am trying to find out if I can, what it's going to cost me to move them.
Okay.
That's the thing. Because right now, trying to find a trucker and the fuel cost, they're quoting me right now, I'm at $3 a mile. Yeah.
Ouch. Open flatbed would work on that Bridgeport. The only thing is, you got to secure it very well because they are top heavy.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing is too, I know you're concerned about the weather, and I know how fussy you are.
It's getting it protected and everything else.
A
And,
box truck would be far better, but still,
it's hard to get loaded in a box truck.
Forklift is the only way.
Yeah.
And then offload.
And at the new place, I'd need an RT forklift.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. It's a cost. I mean, it's a little over 450 miles at $3. That's $1,200, and then getting the electric run in there and everything else. So right now it's looking like $5,000 to $6,000 to get everything moved. And
just the two pieces. That's just the two pieces of equipment.
Two pieces of equipment. Yep.
Don't sell them, Paul. I know you'll have to. If you can't move them, you'll have to sell them. I know that, but still, you'll never replace that Bridgeport. You'll never replace it.
Oh, I know.
How much is a new Bridgeport? 25, 28?
28. And it's not that, it's the tooling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's my biggest kicker is the tooling.
Yep.
What I have invested in tooling, I could buy a good lathe for. Okay.
Yep.
And
and the tooling for a good lathe is the interchangeable tool post.
Yep.
Oh God, never mind. This is not a machinist show, Paul. Let's get back to
okay. So we had a couple of emails lying around that people were saying they were having problems chambering cartridges. Now, what let's go through what could cause the problem of trying to chamber a cartridge.
Can I repeat what I told you earlier, Paul?
Sure.
I've been on the military ranges more than a few times. And it's funny, it's amazing how much naivete there is about ammunition. But once in a while, a round will get dropped on the ground. Nobody sees it, and so you get stepped on a few times, and it picks up a dent or two, but it's still going to be functional. But
okay,
how many times have you heard somebody say, don't put that in a rifle? It might blow up.
Yep.
Just because it has a dent in the side from somebody's boot. Now, if it doesn't chamber, that's another story. But you don't fire it because it won't fit, not because you don't want to fire from an open bolt. But the point is, it's because it doesn't fit. It's not going to blow up.
It shouldn't blow up. It shouldn't.
Agreed.
I'm saying that, but in a military rifle as being an M4, M16, something like that, the hammer and the firing pin shall not meet in an unchambered round on the primer. It shouldn't. There are notices of out of battery firings that we've seen and heard about, but that hammer should not be able to hit it. Tolerances do stack up. It can happen. But why did that, other than that, if you're reloading a cartridge,
right, go ahead.
Why would that cartridge not go into your chamber? What would be an issue?
First time I ever had that happen to me, I was trying to put a crimp, God forbid that word, on a 30-30 cartridge, and that would be trying to do a roll crimp on a 30-30 cartridge, and it wouldn't chamber in the rifle. Couldn't figure it out. That's like, until I finally got smart enough to figure it out, that I took my calipers and started miking across the point of the shoulder. Then I realized I put too much vertical force on it, trying to roll that case into the cannelure of the bullet, and I buckled the shoulder, expanded it and buckled the shoulder on that 30-30 cartridge.
Yeah. Definitely, when you're crimping around, you can run into that.
Yeah, because
Also,
that's what's that called? That's not a taper crimp, is it?
no, it's
It's a roll crimp.
a roll crimp. You're trying to roll that crimp into that canneler.
Right.
Okay. So, and basically all you're trying to do is get it pushed in. You're not trying to roll it in like you would with a pistol round. You're trying just to push it in and to get it. Now, Chris Sharp had an issue where he a ridge in the neck, and he forgot the chamfer and deburr after trimming. Okay. Now, basically, he's got a very tight chamber, and I don't know if he's got that much of a problem with it. Either his cutter isn't sharp enough on his trimmer, or the chamber is so tight that he should be neck turning his cases.
Well, if he's got 2000s, I think it's what, 4? 4 is considered enough.
Yeah.
That's 4 thousandths clearance on the diameter.
Mm-hmm. So, but still, if he's got a tight chamber, there's a lot of chambers that are out there that have to be, especially in bench rest, that have to be turned in order for them to chamber. But as the average reloader goes, he may need to check to see how his sizing die is working. Make sure the brass is the same brass.
Forgive me.
Go ahead.
Okay, you just sort of took things out of order, I think, because most of us would trim our brass after it's been resized.
Okay.
And if Chris has that issue because he forgot to deburr, chamfer and deburr. Say hello to my wife, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Very nice and professional, eh? Anyway, if Chris has that issue, it would have occurred after he resized.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah. So if he had that issue and he can't get it in, that's one thing. But if he resized it and that piece of brass isn't the same, say he's got 5 Hornady and 5 Lapua, could it be that the Hornady didn't size right, or the Lapua didn't size right because his die was set up for say Lapua, and the Hornady is different in thickness?
The Hornady is probably a tad thinner than the Lapua.
I'm just giving an example as far as
I know
what can happen. Okay. Another thing is that people neck size to the point where you can't chamber the gun. Okay. It'll get too hard.
Yep. And that's because they don't bump the shoulder back.
Right. So neck sizing has its difficulties in reloading.
Okay, Paul, when I say the shoulder hasn't been bumped back, what am I saying? What's really happening in the cartridge walls themselves? He's got the answer, folks. I know that for a fact. Go ahead, Paul. Show me.
When this part of the shoulder is not pushed back because it expanded too much on the when you were running it through the sizing die.
Right.
Okay. So if that didn't get pushed back far enough, that's the 2000s that we're looking at to give clearance for the chamber. Then we're sitting there looking at a place where the would have a problem in chambering the round.
That excessive length at the shoulder from the shoulder to the head. That's what I'm asking you. Where does that come from?
Excessive length
Yes,
from the
okay.
shoulder to the
Let's
head.
just say your shoulders to the datum point. Then we'll go pull a number out of the air. 3.172. All right.
Okay.
Now your datum point on the case that won't chamber is 3.176.
Right.
Where did that 4,000 come from?
That came from firing. When it was fired, the case expanded. Okay.
That's right.
And filled the case. Set the head the bolt back a little or whatever, but you have to eliminate that and get it 2,000s, at least 2,000s less than your chamber, so the gun chambers correctly.
Would you agree that what I'm really getting at is the case is stretched?
Right. That's why we have a die in order to get it back exactly to the right size.
All I'm trying to do is explain where that excessive length came from.
But I'm trying to explain that too, that at the same time, if we sit down and neck size a case and we do it 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times, maybe at that 4th or 5th time, you may not be able to chamber it.
That's right. You and I are actually in total agreement. You're going clockwise and I'm going counterclockwise.
And the other thing that I'm going to suggest is that if you have 2 or 3 different kinds of brass, you may find out that a die setting for one type of brass will not work with the other brass, other type of brass, because they both have different rates of spring back when they come out of the die. So that's all right. What do we got here from Paul? Or from Chris, excuse me.
Chris has written, and Paul's highlighting the comment, that he took the bullets out, dumped the powder, knocked that ridge off, and no issues since. He deburred his brass. ADG brass, brand new brass, and I full length size it to skip the step in my process. Like he said, he forgot to deburr.
It's just one thing that could lead to it.
You
know,
tight chamber is another one, Paul. You know what?
Sure.
Tight chambers alone with, say, factory ammo. That'll take and could give you issues. Let's say you have a national match chamber.
Well, national match may be big. It just depends.
It could be.
But a bench rest chamber is one usually is where or somebody has set up a reamer that is cutting the minimum. So what do we have here? But where does the stretch really thin brass though? At the case head?
Yep.
That's one place it can thin. And the other place that can thicken the brass is up at the shoulder, which could cause you problems.
Yep. Well, the whole body of the case, I mean, the material's got to come from somewhere, and most likely it's going to come from the intersection. Yes, right where Paul's dental pick is touching.
Right
Put
there.
it on top, Paul. You're on your side. Put it up right there. Right there. Right, the little ring that Paul's got on that case, whatever it is, about 1/8 of an inch ahead of that. That's the thinnest spot in the case head. Right there. Yep.
Well, there we go.
The brass actually flows under after working it so many times.
And then you're going to get brass that's going to move up to this junction.
Yep.
Right here, where it can cause a donut into the case. And the donut could cause a problem in Chambering.
What are you calling a donut?
A donut is where the brass flows up into the neck of the case, and it thickens the case at that point.
The shoulder and neck,
shoulder and
body,
shoulder
and
neck.
Okay.
Shoulder and neck. Originally, Forrester, on their turning tools, they used to sell a inside the neck reamer to remove those kind of things. It would say 308.
I have neck reamers.
Right. Inside the neck reamer.
That's
not
right.
An outside. Yeah.
You can't do both. That's the one thing about it. One thing unfortunately, you can't ream and turn. If you should choose one or the other.
They now have a machine that does both.
I don't doubt it. Forrester really come up with some serious innovation.
It isn't Forrester. It's a guy that developed a CNC machine. It's got two cutters that actually cuts the inside and outside of the neck at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can adjust the thickness you're going to want for the neck, and it goes right through and cuts it all at one time. It's expensive.
Paul, there's a question for you from GGW Reloading.
Where is it? I don't.
Second one up from the bottom. Yep, that one. Which is better, to do the inside or the outside?
I do the outside. Okay, I prefer to do the outside unless unless it really shows. But my cutters come in and will cut into the neck of the case, into the shoulder of the case. So if I'm running a 32-degree shoulder on my cartridge, I have a 32-degree cutter on my neck turning tool. So it will cut actually into the shoulder of the case that I'm turning. And guys, I only have to do it, maybe once in the life of the case, and that's it. So I set my neck first, and as far as my thickness, and then I will one more time go through it, and it is my tool is set for that already. So when I turn it again, all I'm looking for is getting into the neck shoulder junction, so I'm making sure that I don't have a donut there with my longer bullets. So if you take a little out the first time you cut it, fifth or sixth reloading, by the time I get to number 10, I'm getting ready to, that's sometimes I don't even get to number 10. If I get to 7 or 8, I'm lucky with a lot of my stuff. So, and that's using Lapua brass or Peterson. I've gotten away from most of my USA made brass or commercial made brass because it just doesn't have the tolerances that I'm looking for. Now, if I'm loading for 5.56 or something like that, that's fine. I don't mind. Then I'll use. I prefer to use Lake City brass for loading 5.56 but sometimes in the past it has been hard to get Lake City brass. Inside diameter and neck turner.
Inside diameter is a reamer.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. On the Forster equipment, it would be a reamer. And Paul, Elkblood corroborated what you said. $2,500 for the CNC version.
Yes, it is. And,
I'll stick with my outside neck turn. It helps true up the outer rod in this GDW. The only way you can really tell, once you turn your neck, the only way you can do it is if you use what they call a last word indicator, which the overall travel of the indicator might be 15 thousandths. But you'll be able to see when you turn the case whether or not it's truly round. And a couple thousandths out of round can affect where the bullet engages the rifling.
yeah. And it depends upon your die setup too, and how you your die setup, your shell holders, if everything's parallel, and getting rid of your expander ball in your dies and using a separate expanding die that is concentric with your loads. So those are some of the things that I've found that that's necessary in order to get good concentricity with it.
Okay,
I've thrown. Go ahead.
Good. No, you go ahead, please.
I've gotten rid of presses because they've gotten sloppy. Okay, I mean it's just they're junk to me. It's they're gone. I'm trying to buy presses now that are big enough and have tolerances enough that I don't run into movement in the press ram. They're straight and they allow adjustments to maintain the straightness as I use it.
Okay, well, I think we're straying back off our topic a little bit. Let's go back to what can cause chambering problems and how to fix them.
Okay. First, I'm going to answer one over here.
Go ahead.
And this is from Paul Loud. A Nexus expander from 21st century. Yes, they can. Okay, because you can set the neck tension without an issue. In other words, if you need one or 2 thousandths or a thousandth and a half neck tension, you can do that with those expanding mandrels.
We have another comment that pretty much agrees with what you said from someone over on Facebook, that he says that he finds that, yes, that's the one. He finds that if you process your brass size and trim, bump shoulders, tooth thou, he neck turns outside. One time, you bump your shoulders one time, it tightens your groups up. Brass lasts longer, especially if you're shooting mixed manufacturer.
Okay, I can see that happening. You just have to watch your brass, because mixed manufacturing brass doesn't always move at the same rate. So and annealing would help a lot to get that more what would you say, a more consistent reloading practice.
I'm sorry, were you speaking to me? Because I had to.
Nope.
I was elsewhere.
We're good. Okay, here's Echo's reloading chamber. He's using range pickup 5.56 NATO brass, and it's with a Sinclair expander, and he's getting half a thousandths to run out. He's doing good. He's got a good straight press. Then, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. But we're sitting there saying, why aren't things chambering? What could cause a problem with it?
Exactly, Paul. Exactly.
So we go back to that, and we're saying, if you find a range pickup, you could have the chamber is so different than yours that you cannot squeeze the bottom third of the case down small enough to get it to go into your gun. You can. Not many people here use a blade micrometer to measure their head expansion. And Jim, you know as well as I do that you put 30 tons of pressure in a piece of brass, even that head is going to expand somewhat. And I use it to check to see how much pressure I'm generating, because I know that if I fire a factory round and I can kind of compare between the two pieces of brass, between my hand load and the factory round, where my pressures are. And it'll tell me in 10,000ths of an inch or so as far as what I'm looking at. But it takes a very accurate micrometer to do that. But if you're picking up a piece of brass that's on the ground and you run it through your reloading cycle and you can't get it to chamber, and it could be that the case head has expanded and the dies do not resize that part of the case.
That's just my very next point. You stole my thunder, you rascal, but good enough for you. That's okay. No, he's absolutely right. The dies do not and cannot, will not ever resize the head of the case. They're not bulge busters. They work the shoulder, they work the body some, they work the neck some.
Even Charlie Foxtrot is there with small base dies. Small base dies work somewhat. Okay, I use small base dies in my M1A. The reason I use it in my M1A is so the chamber is here. I want my bullet to sit down the same way every time. So it's not really a rattle fit, but it's kind of loose in there. Okay. And that way it lays down at the bottom of my chamber every time. It doesn't fill the chamber up.
Highlight Paul Law's comment, would you please? Right underneath mine. He sees a lot of chambering issues. Oh, I'm sorry. Next one down. The next one down. He found that his groups tighten up significantly when they're reduced to one-shot groups. I wish we'd all thought of that sooner.
Yeah. Paul, I have some patches left from when I was shooting trap. It was called one straight. Okay. You get 25 straight, you get a patch. You shoot 50 straight, you get a patch. 75 straight, you get a patch. 100 straight, you get a patch. I got some that are one straight. Okay.
Good comment. Anyway, Paul did have another one up there, but we don't have to highlight it. It was about 9mm. He sees a lot of chambering issues posted lately related to OL with the 9mm Luger. Well, there's so much ammunition being made out there. I bet you it has more to do with QC than anything else. Quality control.
But that's what we're stressing here. Okay, our quality control.
Absolutely.
As we're sitting there, that's our QC is us. That may mean a plunk test for handgun rounds. That may mean taking a resize case that you just finished up for your bolt action and putting it in and seeing what happens. Not a loaded round, but just a resized case. Loaded rounds, take the firing pin out of the bolt action, See what happens. See if you can chamber it. Semi-autos, you can do the same thing. You can take the firing pin out and check to see if the chamber's right. QC, and that's supplied by the reloader.
That's right. We're making the best ammo. We're making ammo. If you do it right, we're making ammo that's actually better than factory. Because, and I say that because we've tuned it for our firearms. No, let's face it. Let's admit it. The factory makes fabulous ammo. Ours is better because we can fine tune it. But generally speaking, the factory's got to make 357 ammo for Grandpa's 357 they bought back in the Elmer Keith days to the same tolerances to the modern firearm that Ruger puts out today. You know, they've got to they got to tune their ammunition for all guns, which is a damn hard chore to do. And make it productively and make it so they can make a little money on it.
Sure. They've gotten a whole lot better in the 50 years that I've been reloading.
Yep.
I know that 50 years ago, I'd bought a box of 20 cartridges, and I'd be lucky to see if I got a 3-inch group out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was hand loading at that time, I was getting 1/2-inch groups. So
no brainer.
No brainer. Nowadays, I can go out and buy factory loads, and there are a lot of companies out there that says that you should be able to get 1-inch groups out of this. Well, that's 300 times better than 3-inch groups. So they've gotten better. Our manufacturing has gotten better. Our bullets have gotten tremendously better. Our powders have gotten better. Our selection of powders has gone through the roof. But we come down to the case still and the chamber. And garbage in equals garbage out.
Paul Loud's got a great comment, a very practical comment. He said, that's the trick with 9mm. A lot of new reloaders are sticking with the manual listed OAL and not plunk testing to their firearm. What he's talking about is they're doing whatever, making the ammo so it fits in the magazine, not in the gun.
Yep.
Well, if it fits in a gun, it should fit in your magazine. But if it fits in your magazine, it may not be exactly right for your gun. That's the thing. Our OAL and our semi-automatic handguns is set by the magazine, not the chamber.
But
something ironic, terribly wrong with that scenario.
Our AOL is set by the reloading manual, and OAL is set by the reloading manual, and that's to determine the pressures that you're going to get on that round. If I see deeper than what they call for, I can get a lot higher pressures on that handgun round. So we can look at as GGW Reloading says, 9mm headspaces on the rim of the no, it doesn't headspace on the rim.
You're right.
9mm headspaces on the mouth of the case.
That's right.
And if it is too long, yes, there's a problem. 38 Super in a Colt Government headspaces on the rim, but it should really headspace on the case mouth. there's always some variations. If you want to trim them all, you can, if they grow long enough. I've never had to see one that grew long enough. They always seem to shorten up on me. So you have some issues with that, but it's improper crimping, over crimping, roll crimps on automatic cartridges can all cause problems with chambering. A roll crimp on a 9mm or a 45 can give you some real issues. A taper crimp that has been applied way too much can give you issues because it's going to slide right past that that stop in the mouth of the cartridge. Ruger for a long time made 9mm revolvers that you could just throw the 9mm shell in and it would stop on the mouth of the cylinder. So not having to use half moon clips or whatever. There you go, Jim.
I didn't care. These guys want to fry my cookies. That's okay. I'm pretty tough, pretty thick-skinned, and they know it. Every once in a while, I throw a finger out there, but that's just mostly for laughs. You guys know that too.
There's a Facebook user. If you want to find the dimension from the bolt face to the shoulder, a trick I use is a small chunk of plastic gauge on the shoulder when they use in checking clearance of the motor crankshafts. Okay.
That would have been, I wonder where that comment came from. Not the Reloading Room, not the podcast.
No, that was Facebook user.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm on both groups.
What I do, if I want to find out where it actually is, cellophane tape. You'd be surprised, cellophane tape is very reliable to develop a go and no-go gauge for headspace. It's always about 0.02 of an inch in thickness, and I can put on one layer and feel it, then go to the next layer, and it works just like your plastic gauge does, except I can get a hard bolt closer, so I know it could be a no-go. But that's a trick that gunsmiths have been using for a long time in setting a barrel on a bolt action gun, is to use cellophane tape.
Oh, you mean like put Scotch tape on the head of the case?
Yep.
They put which side they put the sticky side on? Dumb question, but it's a serious question.
Put sticky side on the case head.
That's right. Why?
Because that's where it's got to go to hold it in, so you can get it chambered.
You're right, because they put it in the bolt face, it would gum things up
right
to no end.
Well, you got 3 thumbs up here from Facebook user Jim.
Okay, I'm trying to find him. I really am. So I can give him credit for what he said. Good thing Mike edits these long songs quiet. Oh, okay, here we are. Oh. No comments on that page. Oh, okay. No comments on that page.
So, Nick, have you run into problems in chambering cartridges for your mill surps?
All the time.
All the time.
It happens quite often.
Okay. What's the what do you find as far as the problems?
Normally it's the shoulder. A lot of times that's what it is. It's the shoulder hasn't been bumped back enough. A lot of times it's when it's needing to be fire formed. It's super tough. I can't get the bolt, like on our bolt action, trying to get that bolt turned down. I don't push it. So those are
Well, you got a bolt handle and everything else that could break, right?
exactly. I don't push it. It's not like it's a modern Remington 700 or something that's built to better standards than a 1917 Enfield was built. So,
well, I think you get better standards out of that than the Remington, but that's just
that's true. That is true.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
I was going to ask Nick, what do you actually do to get your brass to chamber, Nick?
A lot of times I just go off spec, off the book. That's usually what we do. Is
what do you do on your reloading press to tighten up that resizing?
Normally, I'll just push down the die a little bit longer, and I trim a little bit longer or shorter, so because it'll fire form out, the brass will stretch
right once it forms out. Yeah. Now, there's another trick you can do. You have any feeler gauges around the house?
Mm-hmm.
Slip a feeler gauge under the head of the case and between the shoulder. It'll lift the case up. It has the same effect as a shoulder bump.
Yeah.
In this case, we're probably talking as much as maybe 5-6 thousandths.
Yeah.
Well, you can get that much slop out of your shell holder.
Yeah.
And it's just a cheap trick for you. And that's for you guys out there, too.
Like my dad just said it. And normally it happens on when we've wildcat or converted another case to another cartridge. We've had a stretch, all that kind of stuff to that case. It needs the fire form to that chamber.
So if you get 50 rounds of ammunition that just won't chamber in that gun, do you pull it, resize it, and work from there? Or
normally that's what we'll do. It's rare. Okay. We don't have that many. It's normally we'll get at most 5 that I can remember we've ever had in a batch we've loaded. Now, mind you, Dad could have had stuff that I don't know about. But I know like one issue I'm running into right now is with the Martini Henry. A lot of the brass, since I've been making this brass, the chamber on this Martini Henry is this Martini hasn't been shot very much. So it's a very tight chamber. So I'm going to have to fire form brass. The brass is going to be stiff going into the chamber. I've had to taper that shoulder down quite a bit. And I've had to anneal the brass multiple times, trying to get that shoulder to come down so it will fit in the chamber. So I can fire it. So,
okay. How is the chamber? I mean, have you looked to see what the chamber is like?
Chamber looks good, from what I can tell.
Have you done a Sorocast on the chamber?
Not yet. That's one thing I want to get done. I've just been busy with stuff. So I know I want to Serasafe the chamber, and I want to take a bore scope to it to see how it looks. I've ran a patch on a shotgun or a pistol cleaning jag, like the flexible one, up in there, and I've done that. And we've even tried to take a pick, small light pick, and try to see if there's a piece of brass stuck up in where the neck hits, but we can't find anything so far.
Where the junction is for the Okay.
That happens with a lot of those old mill surps, especially rimmed cartridges, or they'll break off a piece of a rim of brass right at the neck, and it'll jam up.
Mm-hmm. What about hard carbon?
It could be that, and that's kind of what we're thinking. It could be hard carbon. But once I fire it, we'll know more. We'll be able to tell how much it stretches out at that point.
I mean, people don't. I don't think a lot of people understand that hard carbon forming up at the case mouth can cause problems with chambering too,
Mm-hmm.
where it interferes with the bullet fit into the bore, and without a bore scope, you'd never see it.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pull up the picture.
You know.
So I don't know how well. I don't know how well this is going to come up. You can see how it's not on some of the brass, not chambered all the way in, and
Yes,
it's
I
not
see.
It's not allowing the follower to come all the way up.
That looks like it's about 7-8 thousandths.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even allowing the lifter to come up to close. So we've had to work at it a little bit. We've gotten I think about 10 to fit so far. So
Hopefully, it's just something like Paul said, carbon.
yeah.
Hopefully, you're not dealing with brass up in there.
And that's our hope. I don't
little
think
tiny
it's
brass
that.
ring.
I don't think it's that because we've had to deal with that on other stuff before, and that's not pretty.
Nick, remember you can also rent a chamber reamer because nothing will clean that chamber out any better than a chamber reamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way you don't have to buy the darn thing.
Well, I've seen videos of guys that have had that issue, and it's Safe. When they Safe the chamber, if there's anything in there, if you get a good cast of Safe, it's gonna help. It's gonna pull stuff out.
Yep, I've heard that.
So
yeah, hard carbon is a little different though. You're gonna have to work on it a little bit with a bronze brush and some JB bore compound maybe to get that to break it up if it's really old. Okay, Charlie Foxtrot, Nick, manufacturer recommendations for modern brass for 8mm Mauser.
currently, I recommend PPU, Privy Partisan. They're what I use for majority of my mill surp brass that I can get my hands on. Currently, I know Remington made some good brass there for a long time. So did Winchester. I use both of those as well. I get better luck out of the PPU in the long run, at least in that cartridge. It seems to be a little bit better. Winchester's a close second. Remington, of course, Remington brass hasn't been that good for quite a few years. Yeah, PPU, and for the price, PPU and Winchester are your two better price. Like right now, let's see. On graphs, we're looking at rifle brass for 8mm Mauser. So they're out of stock of everything right now, besides Nosler, which Nosler's you're gonna pay a pretty penny, unless you're shooting out of a sporterized competition rig and 8mm Mauser. I wouldn't worry about the Nosler. Hornady makes it. Hornady, Norma, PPU, and Winchester's looks like what's being produced. I go with the PPU because right now, if it was in stock, you'd be about 65 cents a piece. Winchester's up there about 82 cents. So that's why I look at.
So you get a savings if you go with the PPU.
Yeah.
And it's an easier one to most likely come across it.
Correct.
Because of the where Winchester is stuck right now making everything it can make for the military.
Another thing, as my dad just reminded me, he's in the chat, Charlie Foxtrot. You can convert 30-06 brass to 8mm Mauser pretty easily. So that's something you might want to look into. If you have quite a bit of 30-06, or it's a lot easier to get 30-06, that's something you can look into.
Nick, 3GW Reloading just put something up that just causes me to. It shows me why we are so successful with our group running it ourselves. And he gave you a tip for about cleaning. If you've got carbon down in that chamber, carbon is carbon. And you try some carburetor cleaner.
I think I have. It's been a while since I've tried to clean that chamber. I'll have to, if not, I'll do it again. It doesn't hurt. It won't hurt it. So.
Plug that bore up with some tight. If you can get a rubber stopper in it, that's the best. But then back that up with some couple tight fitting swabs and soak that rascal with the muzzle down. You know what I'm saying, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
We had back in the day, they were Mercury Marine had some carburetor cleaner that they were selling, silver something or another to clean, and it worked to clean bores really well. Problem was some of it was a little aggressive, okay, and I don't know what exactly carburetor cleaner is. I don't use it. Brake cleaner I use, okay, but carburetor cleaner I don't. I am still of the opinion that JB bore paste, a nylon brush, and a patch will aggressively attack it and still do minimum damage to the bore, if at all. Just one of my cleaning regulations that when you shoot prairie dogs and you put 300 rounds down a barrel a day or 400 rounds down the barrel a day, and you sit down and you want to just run a patch through it pretty quick, I would take a swab it foam bore attachment, load it up with JB bore paste, run it through my guns, run a couple of patches through it, run some alcohol patches through it, and it usually took care of all the carbon right away. And knock the copper out if I had it. And if there's any leading, if you were shooting a lead bullet, it would do the same. So just something to think about.
We give as much as we can, but you know what? We learn from you guys too. We learn a lot.
Yeah.
We probably learn more from you guys than you guys learn from us. I know I have. I'll be the first to admit it.
Okay, Paul Loud, yes.
Speaking of troublemakers.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Beat on Jason while he's not here.
Yep.
Go ahead, Paul Loud.
Yep.
Good one. Jason converts his 30-06 from 270 brass.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Charlie Foxtrot already has a ton of 30-06 brass. So yeah, that's something. If you can spare 200 pieces, most time that's what all you're gonna really need for a Mauser, especially. That's
for
a good way to look.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I usually look at if I can get 200 to 400 pieces of brass, that would be my perfect amount of brass per rifle. So that's usually in it. But if it's something obscure like this Martini, I bought a lot, but I can over time make brass. But like for my French Lebel, I think I only have 100 pieces. I'm not going to shoot that gun a whole lot, so I don't need a ton. But if I'm talking like my 8mm Mausers or my Arisakas or something like that, I'll try to get 200-300 pieces, and that should last me the majority of the time I need. And if not, 5-6 years down the road, try to get some more, or try to find a way to convert brass down the road.
I was wondering if you're going to catch that one, Paul.
Yep. I use denatured alcohol all the time as a cleaning solution. While
Paul's getting whatever he's looking for, Echo Reloading Chamber put up the comment: denatured alcohol is a primary component to brake cleaner, and carburetor brake cleaner has a chlorine additive, unless you get the cleaner without it. And he's got to get. Paul just come up with a gallon can of denatured alcohol.
That's how I buy it, because I use it in a lot of cleaning. I clean lenses with it for my scopes. I use it to finish out my barrel cleaning, to make sure that I've gotten any chemicals that I've used or anything out of it. It cuts grease. It does everything that I need, and it's cheap. So, yeah, I mean, I get squirt bottles with it laying around and everything, and with a chamber cleaning unit, you can keep all the junk out of the action of the gun, and yeah, it's one of the ways to go.
Nick, go ahead and finish Charlie comment answering Charlie.
The one at 816.
Yeah, 960. Yeah, your time 960.
So 200 piece of 306. Say no more. Any gotchas, or just run it through at the 8mm die. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since we messed with it, and I don't have my cartridge conversion book nearby. I would just look up. There's a couple of videos on YouTube. I have not watched them, so I don't know how good they are. But I imagine if they're still up, they got to be pretty close. I sent you a message, Charlie, on the chat. If you're on Discord, shoot me a message. I'll look at it the next time I'm at my parents' house. I'll take a look, see exactly how it's done. I think it's kind of, you're converting it down to a 30 or 308 diameter, so I imagine it's just an anneal and a neck, or a size. I mean, not neck. I mean a size, and then trim. I'm trying to remember exactly. Let's see.
You might hear a few beeps and boops from Discord. I'm trying to get the invite link up from Discord. That's why I'm on over there right now.
There we go. My dad has it because he's the one that always did it in the past. Anneal, resize, trim, anneal again, and load. So it sounds like you don't have to. It's straight through 8mm dies. So
You're just looking at pushing the shoulder back and open up the case neck.
Yeah. No, you're not opening up. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going from 308 to 323.
Yeah. I'm thinking the other way. I have the other way in my head right now.
Yeah, you're opening it up, so you still you got to make sure your expander is going to fit through the through the case neck. If you have to, you may have to use an M die to just to flare the case so your expander goes through. Or get a or get a what do you call it, expander, from Sinclair or somebody that opens it up to your to what you're looking for. But sometimes that little ball on the end of the die can, especially with RCBS, can hang up.
I know we use Lee dies on 8mm, and we've never had a problem doing it. So I don't know what dies he's using. I know we've never had a problem with the Lee.
Lee has got a more tapered expanding ball.
Mm-hmm.
So RCBS is pretty squared off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I've been kind of preaching denature alcohol here, but thanks for the backup Echoes reloading chamber. Charlie Foxtrot is going to try a Lee set. There we go.
Yeah, especially Lee. They're super budget. Our CBS are nice, but we have a couple RCBS sets, but as little as we load, and we don't load mass production or precision, the Lee set works great. So,
Well, I'll be honest with you. In 308, I actually have a Lee full length resizing die that I use because it is super accurate.
and they can be very accurate. I have my 6.5 before I got my Forester bullet seating die, my Crommer bullet seating die. It worked great. I was getting at most 1,000 to 2,000 difference.
I can reload. I can size a 308 with my that Lee, and I can show no run out, 0. And it doesn't matter what brand of brass or whatever. It'll straighten it right out. So I don't knock any of them. Okay, I have trouble with some of them that are big names that should be nice and straight. And I ain't gonna say who, but and I've sent dies back to them to tell them they're messed up. So yeah, it's don't be afraid to use a Lee die to check it out for the cost. What are you talking about? $35-$40 for a complete set? I mean, that's
trying to look up on Titan right now. What their Lee dice cost? I know they have them. Wow.
Well, you guys have a little lull right here. Charlie Foxtrot, if you need to, look me up. I've got a Discord link I can give you. YouTube doesn't seem to want to let me have or put the link up. So take that last comment out I put in there. Take spaces out of it and then copy and paste that. Guys, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Made memory Mauser dies.
GGW just got a good point too about when you're reforming cases, don't forget to lube, particularly the inside of that neck, Charlie Foxtrot. Don't forget to lube that.
But not too much, and that's important. Not too much.
Inside the case, you're not going to get quite as much lube dense, but as you will from the outside. But you need to lube that inside so the expander ball can go down in first off. So your 8 millimeter, because you're expanding the ball, expanding the brass right off the bat. On that unsupported decapping spindle, you may run into problems that way. That's why moving brass.
That's why I prefer an M die to start to open it up.
I agree. But again, with product availability being what it is right now, Paul, he may not be able to get an M die at 323.
If you're looking at an expanding die that is out there, you may want to try Precision Products out of Texas. They sell and their mandrel dies in pin sizes. So in other words, it's set up with a collet and a die, and then the pin is tapered so you can get that in. And pin gauges, as Jim knows, are pretty much available everywhere. So
yeah, they're not subject to the product shortage us reloaders are facing. He's asking about imperial sizing wax. Yep. That's something I'd like to throw out there. Guys, I know you listen to us. Please hit that thumbs up button. It helps us a little bit with our ratings on YouTube.
Andy, good night.
Good night, Andy. Appreciate the thought and appreciate the nudge.
Yeah,
I need to start casting zinc.
And Chris
I'll try
Sharp,
that with
yes. 21st century shooting is another option.
Yep, they're pretty good. I hear they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're very, very, very good stuff. Expensive. Okay, I'm gonna put that out there. They're expensive. Precision Products is about $125 for a per caliber in their mandrel dies, and their mandrels are only, their pin gauges are only about $10 each. So once you get set up, you can do it pretty cheaply after that. So and Jim, to make sure that you watch his last zinc video.
Will do, Charlie. Thank you. Come on.
So
I'm trying to get a message to Charlie Foxtrot while I still have the link on my while I have the link on my computer's clipboard. Got him. Charlie, you just got a private message from me. That link is only good for 7 days, as of about 15 minutes ago. Okay? Anyway,
all right, guys. Did we kick this one into the bucket?
You think you got it all covered? Well, or at least, well, we've at least opened the Pandora's box.
Okay. So, any other questions out there, guys? I'll give you some time to do that and talk about the 358 Winchester.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, 358 Winchester. It's nothing more than a necked up version of the 308 Winchester. But someone said earlier, the 222 grain jacketed bullet, it's a hell of a sledgehammer. Good for black bear in the brush. Wild pigs in the brush. Yeah, that's better. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. 37 watching, 30 thumbs up.
So, yeah, it's a necked up 308. 358 bullets. So it gives you a pretty wide range of bullets between handgun bullets and rifle bullets. What other 358 cartridges were out there?
35 Rem.
35
Rem. Wayland. 35 Wayland.
With 330 with 33 Winchester or 32 Winchester, wasn't that a 355?
No, 32 Winchester is 318, I think.
Okay.
I think. I could be wrong. I probably am. But I know there's a 35 Wayland. Townsend Wayland created the 35 Wayland, which is nothing more than a 30-06 necked up to 358.
Which was a heck of a good elk cartridge.
You bet. Thanks, Jorgen. He got one. Jorgen Reagan's got one for us, Paul.
350 Remington. Yeah, there you go.
350 Remington Magnum.
Yep.
They gave it the name, but it really wasn't even a Magnum cartridge. It wasn't a belted cartridge.
No. But it was available in the that little old plasticized 660 Remington action. Anybody remember that one? I mean, it was a good little, plastic stock, and It was a guides gun, lightweight, had a plastic rib on it for a while.
Sounds a lot like your old nylon 66.
Yeah, kind of like along the same thing, but it was it had a dog leg bolt in it, like the XP100, and
Yes.
it kicked like a mule, but there was a real guides gun in Alaska because the 350 Rem mag was a pretty potent round.
Another 35 caliber cartridge is a 357, 335 Harriet. I don't know if it's 357 Harriet or 35 Harriet. I forget.
It's 357 Harriet.
Okay. They say in that out of a contender, it's hell on wheels. It'll rock your world.
It's a very, very good deer hunting cartridge. I load for it
handgun.
Out of a handgun. I load for it in a 10-inch barrel because I like the handiness of a 10, and with a 4-power scope on it, with a 4-power Leopold scope, it's a heck of a nice hunting cartridge.
Let me ask you this: so how many have you knocked that scope loose yet? How many rounds you got through that Harriet?
No, never knocked it off. But I'll tell you right now, it originally came with 6 42 screws, and they got opened up to 848. And then
I can't imagine why.
And then it got glued down.
You bet your ass.
It got the blue polished off of both sides of the Leopold scope bases and the barrel, and roughed up.
A really good dig welder could work at on there. That way it won't recoil off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't TIG weld aluminum to steel. That's the only drawback to that.
Well, no,
I got a comment here. I gotta challenge Paul. Gen Champ Jr. 9:32 p.m. What about 357 mag BMG? It's a 50 caliber BMG, neck down to 357. That's a scary thought. 9:32 p.m. Yep, that's the one. Well, I'll tell you what, Gen Champ Jr., you can fire that out of your handgun all you want to. I'm not really interested in trying it.
Yeah. That would be an interesting one. Yeah. 600 Remington. Yep. Kicks like a Magnum. Yes, it is. Definitely.
As a lightweight rifle for a heavy duty cartridge.
Yep.
Backpedaling, Gen Champ, backpedaling. That's funny. We all know that there's no such cartridge. We're just kidding about it. He was even laughing about it. He's just kidding. 357 JDJ. Very good, Greg Wyatt.
JDJs are, I don't know.
Inspired by a madman. That's exactly what they are.
Yeah, well, he was the one that developed magneporting, and everybody, he magneported everything. And, JDJ, when you go Jones. When he went to Africa to hunt elephants with a handgun, and a lot of places wouldn't let him do that. He had to beg and borrow in order to do it. Some reason go ahead.
Surely he didn't put 458 Win Mag in a handgun.
No,
he'd tried. I'm sure.
No, he He had 375 in a handgun. And
That'd be the 375 JDJ then.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he did eventually take an elephant with it, but a lot of the governments in that area have regulations as far as calibers that you can take game with, and energy figures, because they were so dependent upon tourism to make their money. They don't like to see the tourists leave in a box. So there's a couple of issues with that. But
Paul, the next to last handgun comment. Sergeant David Dog. Yep. He's got a 375 JDJ and a 15-inch Encore pistol. That thing is a bastard with the Magna ports. I have a friend that shoots 4570, not very often, but he does shoot 4570 out of his contender. 14-inch barrel, and that thing just flies off the bench. I won't shoot it. I won't shoot it.
4570 and a handgun I've shot a couple of times, and it's in a 6-gun, and that's a rough in a single action army. The twist in that can really get to you.
Yeah, the torquing. Yep.
Yeah. And as it rolls in the hand, you definitely don't want a squared trigger guard on a Beasley type squared trigger guard on that gun. You want a nice rounded one. You get old like me, and you get
yep.
Yeah. But
like that?
Yeah, and you go like this, and they only go this far.
Yep.
That's it.
Mine might go a little further, but it cost me pain. Anyway, enough of that.
Yep.
All right.
So,
anything else, guys? Paul's asked once, I'll ask again. Nick, you got anything?
Nope.
Well, we're going to roll it down tonight. Mike won't be here next week. So it'll be whoever joins us, and probably Jim will take over the show next week.
We'll try if I can get to class. I had to bail out, guys. I had to bail out. I was working on my back porch, and I was dripping wet with sweat at 7:30 when the class started, and I just couldn't do it. Is there a better time for you, Paul? Mike can edit all these comments out. Is there a better time in a day for you? I know you're around all day, but I'm not.
It don't matter to me. I'm around all day, so I'm good to go at all.
How about Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I'm around.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Sergeant David Dog. He traded the 4570 pistol barrel for the 375. Wasn't much better trade, huh? Okay, we understand that.
Oh, that's Sergeant Devil Dog. That's what that
Devil
is.
Dog. Okay.
Yeah, the Globe and Anchor. Good one, Paul. Good one. 357 maximum.
Yeah, that I've never shot that in a single shot pistol. I've shot it in the Dan Wesson when it came out, and
how was it?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
A little peppy.
It was fast, okay, but you got to remember that was in a 10-inch barrel Dan Wesson, so it wasn't like with a full vent rib bull barrel. It had enough weight in the front end to keep it from really whipping, but it sure as heck cut the top strap of that Dan Wesson up.
Yeah.
By the time you got, yep. So
Thompson Center chambered them for a while. Chambered that cartridge for a while in a few barrels.
Yes, they did. Yep.
You wouldn't have a flame cutting there. It would just be bore erosion, which isn't much better.
Well, we all talk about bore erosion, but look at your rifle rounds, especially some of your 22 calibers and 6 millimeters. The first one we had was a 220 Swift as far as bore erosion. That was the big one. So, all right, we're going to cut it off now. We've been on for an hour and 35 minutes, 36 minutes. So, guys, I want you to send your questions and comments to the Reloading Podcast at gmail.com.
Excuse me, Paul.
Yep.
Send your comments to, quote, Reloading Podcast at gmail.com, not the. Sorry, Paul.
Yes. Okay. I'll let I'm not sure about the phone numbers and that. I'm just here to try to keep the show going here, and I will let Jim handle the rest of the exit as far as we go. Other than, don't forget Primary Arms. Okay. Thank you for being the show sponsors for tonight. Take the time, guys. Go over there. Go to their site. Go through it. Find out, look at their stuff. They're a great sponsor for us. They really go out of their way. Go there. Drop some coin on them, guys.
I got one thing to say, and this is for people that are watching the live show. For the next 27 hours, Primary Arms on their website's running 10% off site-wide. If you go to their website, it's all at the top of the screen, shows you how to do it. And that's just for the next 27 hours. So the people that are listening to this at a later time, it's not going to help. But yeah, for the people on the live show, if you've been looking at something, now might be the time to jump on it, especially 10% off.
Thank you, Chris.
And that helps support our channel. Okay?
Exactly.
So go do it. Coupon code. There's no coupon code, right?
Yep.
Nick? No coupon code?
Yeah, I'd shop there. I always shop there. Okay. I always shop there. That's one of my first places I go. But yeah, right now it shows it's a coupon code, but it's on the site. Shows you how to do it. So.
Okay, so it's on the site.
Yeah, so when you go to Primary Arms, the homepage will pop up, and it's a big red bar across the top of the page. So.
Okay, Chris Sharp, thank you. We have a phone number, a voicemail. You can leave a voicemail or send text message to 608-467-0308 or 0308. 608-467-0308. And you can leave a voicemail. Chris swears up and down, straight up and down that he did. I could pull the voicemail, but I'll let Mike do it.
Well, Mike
358
says,
Norma Mag. You know what? Thanks, Paul. That's another one, the big Magnum. Another 35 caliber cartridge.
And
Paul, speaking as one of the original senior hosts, I think you did a hell of a good job tonight, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys much. I just stepped in to make sure that we keep this rolling. So, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the questions from the listeners, and I enjoy all the interactions. So it makes this fun.
Hey, Nick, say that last comment of yours verbally, please.
So I just put in the comments. It's the code at checkout is in all caps, save 10.
That's for the live show listeners, at least.
Yep.
All right. Good night, everyone. Oh, Paul, what's your tagline?
Tagline is, despite what your mama told you, Grandpa said violence does solve problems.
Nick?
Jump on the mill surp short bus.
And remember, gun control is about control, not our guns.
Ask the Cubans.
Ow. And Mike will probably throw in his PSA after this.
Yep.
All right. Good night, all.
Night, y'all.
Good night. Everyone have a good one.